As the saying goes, people are afraid of dying in July. More afraid of being born in July. Hades tell the truth. People born in July originally had these three origins. Why would anyone be afraid of dying in July? I'm more afraid of being born in July. Could it be that being born in July is really thinner than paper? Is the pen clean? Jizang Bodhisattva's original wish is to float through the clouds. Behave. Nothing but night. Nothing but sin. From the moment a person's birthday falls to the ground, the mark of cause and effect is left behind. Ordinary people ask for peace and prosperity. The most feared thing is to be contaminated with cause and effect that should not be contaminated. Especially at the junction of yin and yang. July with the gates of hell open. This month, life and death, it seems to be pulled by an invisible thread. It gets really subtle. Old people often say that July is the ghost month. This month is the most yin. Yang Qi is the weakest. The gates of the underworld will open. Let those lonely souls return to the world. Enjoy the incense. Therefore, people born in July, it was shrouded in mystery and an uneasy veil. Where did they come from? Why is the world so afraid? Behind this, there is a hidden one that even the king of hell is unwilling to easily. The secret mentioned. Until many years later, a woman named Lu Lianyi spent her entire life. Just solved today's mystery. Lujia Village, King County. It's a small village with mountains and rivers. Simple folk customs. The villagers work at sunrise and rest at sunset. Life is not rich, but also peaceful. But this peace, it was completely disrupted on a summer night 20 years ago. That night was the Hungry Ghost Festival on July 15th. The dark night is like ink that cannot be dissolved. Even a hint of moonlight stands under. The dogs in the village were uncharacteristically tucking their tails. I dare not waste. The rooster in the pot on weekdays, all huddled in the chicken coop. It was as if he was strangled by something invisible. The entire Lujia village is terrifying. Only the house of Lushan in the east of the village is still bright with a yellow oil lamp. Lights flicker in the wind. Pull the figure thin and long. Cast on the window paper like a ghost. Wow, that's a loud cry. Cut through this dead night sky. Lushan's wife. After finally walking through the gates of hell, she gave birth to a daughter for him. But this was supposed to be a time of celebration. The princess on the street was sitting on the ground with a plop. Pale face, shaking like leaves in the autumn wind. Ghost baby, this is a ghost baby. He pointed to the baby in the walled castle. The voice was trembling. Lu Shan just wanted to get angry, look in the direction of Mrs. Wang's finger. Also stunned. I saw that the newborn baby girl did not cry or make trouble. With big black eyes, looking at the beam. And his kindness, born with a little red cinnabar paper. In the dim light, it looks unusually demonic. And here's what's even weirder, with his cry. There was a faint rumor outside the house for a while. If there is no chain, the mopping sound and countless broken pieces. The whispers of life. As if there were 1,000 pairs of eyes peering outside the house at this new sea of yin. The Hungry Ghost Festival was born when the door opened. This child was reincarnated on the shoulders of a white ghost. Mrs. Wang rushed out of the house, shouting. The whole village was alarmed. LV Shan holds her newborn daughter, a cold heart. He named his daughter a jumpsuit. May his life be like a jumpsuit in the water. Although there are waves, bottleneck. But I just didn't expect, from the moment the ripple was born. The bottleneck of the Lu family will never go back. People in the village say that Ripple is a ghost. I don't want a license. Anyone who sees him wants to hide away like a plague god. The children threw stones at him, call him a bastard without parents. It's a little monster that eats people. Lizenfu, the woman, protects her daughter like an eyeball. But gossip is like an invisible king. Trapped their family firmly. Lian Yi was 3 years old. Drought in the village. It hasn't rained a drop for months. The crops in the fields are dying. The third uncle in the village is on crutches. He led a group of villagers to block the door of Lushan's house. Lu Shan was born to you. This witch angered God. Go on like this. Our whole village will be buried with your family. Hand him over and burn him for a few days. Maybe God can still reign. The villagers were outraged. The torch in my hand is shaking, reflecting a picture of Zhang due to drought and a face contorted with fear. The Lushan couple knelt on the ground and begged. Knocked his head out. Facing the survival crisis of the whole village, any plea seemed so feeble. At this critical juncture, a wandering Taoist of Deadwood happened to pass by. He pioneered rice, handheld float. He only glanced at Lu Lianyi, who was protected in his arms, and he sighed. Eat, eat. The Taoist priest cleared the crowd. Walk in front of Lu Shan. Take one out of your arms. A mahogany plaque painted with cinnabar to ward off evil spirits. Hand it over. This woman has a peculiar personality. Non-demon, non-evil. It's just the wrong time. This cold town is mixed. You let him wear it close to his body. It will keep him safe for 18 years. LV Shan seems to have grabbed the straw. Thanks again and again. Taoist Kumu shook his head, staring at him with a solemn expression. Say it word by word, remember. It's just a stopgap measure. Before your daughter's 18th birthday. Remember, never let her see any prohibition at night. Reflection in the water. Whether it's well water, river water, or water in a basin. Otherwise it will cause diarrhea. Due to its Taoist temple, immortal. After speaking, the Taoist priest turned and left. No matter how Lu Shan shouts, never looked back. And shortly after the Taoist priest left, clouds of competition in the sky. It's pouring rain. The villagers cheered and dispersed, as if it was about to burn a 3-year-old girl to death. Not them. Only Lu Shan was clutching the mahogany card tightly. The Taoist priest's irredeemable warning, like a mountain. It weighed heavily on his heart. Reflections in still water. What's in there? Time flies. The sun and the moon fly. In the blink of an eye, 15 years have passed. Lu Lianyi has emerged as a pavilion. Ting Yuli's big girl. He is not as lively and smiling as the other girls in the village. There's always a touch of sadness between the eyebrows. I grew up isolated. He has a very quiet temper. The greatest pleasure of the day, it's just to accompany a sick mother, talking in the yard, or go to the mountains to pick some herbs. Although the villagers still avoid him, but it's been okay all these years. LV Shan couple, always keep in mind the instructions of Taoist Deadwood. Season of couplets. Water tank at home, at night. Just cover it tightly with thick wooden boards. Wash up at night. You can only bite frozen water with a scoop. Never let him see the calm reflection of the pelvic floor for even a second. The old well at the entrance of the village was listed as a forbidden area by Lu Shen. The sky's dark. He made 1,000 exhortations. Don't let the ripples get half a step closer. Although Ripple was puzzled. But he is filial by nature. I know my parents are good for him. He never asked. It just grows with age. He found himself. It seemed like there was something really different about it. For example, he can see things that no one else can. Not some evil ghost of young fangs. It's these faint, almost transparent shadows. Sometimes it's Uncle Lee at the head of the village, followed by a vague outline of an old woman. I vaguely remember that it was his wife who passed away many years ago. Sometimes it's Butcher Jang, a few strands wrapped around the body. If there is no black gas, in 2 days, Butcher Jang was chopping bones. He slashed himself. He was afraid to tell anyone about it, including his closest parents. He was afraid that they would worry more about him. I am also afraid that I am really the monster in the mouth of others. He just keeps all his secrets to himself. Live more cautiously. The mahogany soul card left by the Deadwood Taoist priest. He never left for 15 years. The sign was warmed by his body temperature. The cinnabar runes on it are also gradually fading. Become blurry. Looking at the distance from his 18-year-old birthday, it's getting closer. The heart of the Lushan couple. It hangs higher and higher every day. They pray day and night. I just hope to get through this hurdle safely. But it didn't work out. What are you afraid of? Just a month before my 18th birthday, the entire Kinghase County and even 100 miles around once again encountered a drought not seen in a century. Eat 1,000 miles, no pellets. The river bed has bottomed out. I can't even get water out of the well. The villagers just sighed at first. And then you get cranky and desperate. And those dusty messages for 15 years, like a crack in the ground, emerged again. Another big man, exactly the same as 15 years ago. I said that the ghost girl of the Liu family is a disaster star. As long as he lives, let's not have a good life. The Taoist priest saved him last time. What about this time? Who will save us this time? Panic and anger, spreading through the village like wildfire. This time the leader is no longer the third uncle. It was his son, the current village chief. This evening, the village chief led a large group of young and strong villagers, blocked Lu Shan's door here. Their eyes are more vicious than they were 15 years ago. More irrational. LV Shan, don't blame us for being ruthless. The wells in the village are completely dry. Without water, we'd all die of thirst. The village chief has red eyes, a hoarse roar. I don't care if your daughter is a human or a ghost. It must be dedicated to the river god tonight. Yeah, sacrifice to the river god. Ask the river god to come down. The crowd began to commotion. No. No, Lu Shan opens his arms. like an old wolf protecting the slaughter, blocking the door. You can't touch my daughter. She's my daughter. Lian Yi's mother also fell to her knees crying. I beg you. She's just a miserable child. She didn't do anything wrong. Wrong, yes, she was born wrong. The village chief pushed Lu Shan away. Face screw. He should have been burned 15 years ago. Blind Taoist Deadwood. Backed him for 15 years. Made us suffer 15 more years. Speaking of Daoji Deadwood, suddenly someone in the crowd shouted. That old Taoist priest. He's back again. In the land temple at the entrance of the village. As soon as this comes out, and everybody froze. A golden light flashed in the village chief's eyes. Wave your hand. Go and ask the fairy. Let's see what to do with this calamity. A group of people surged towards the earth temple. The Lushan couple collapsed to the ground. The last bit of hope in my heart was completely extinguished. Daoji Deadwood. How could he come back at this time? Lian Yi hid behind the door, cold all over. He looked through the crack in the door, looking at the desperate backs of my parents, watching the villagers flee murderously. A heart sinks into the bottomless abyss. He knew this time he couldn't escape. Deeper and deeper. Under the dim oil lamp in the land temple, Deadwood Island sits on a long table, as if I had been waiting here for a long time. He looks even older than he did 15 years ago. The wrinkles on my face are like those of a knife man. A pair of eyes, but still ruwili, as if it can pierce the heart. The village chief knelt on the ground, the plight of the village and the doubts about Ripple. It's all said. The Taoist priest finished listening. No words for a long time. It took him a long time to open your eyes and slowly spit out a few words. God's will is hard to violate. Taoist priest, please show me the way. The village chief kowtowed. Taoist Deadwood looked at the dark night sky outside the temple. He said faintly that this girl was born in July. Yin Qi, against the yang of this soil and water. And this led to drought. As soon as this sentence comes out, the villagers were in an uproar. So what should I do? The village chief asked eagerly. Taoist Deadwood closes his eyes. There was a trace of intolerance on his face, but in the end, it still says that you need to solve the bell. I want rain from the sky, only by sacrificing the blood of the most yin. Before this, sink him into the long-dried core of the Qinghe River. Trade his blood for the survival of a villager. The verdict was like a thunderbolt. Blast above everyone's head. Cruel, but with an irrefutable sense of destiny. A trace of constant force flashed in village chief's eyes. He kowtowed heavily. Thank you for your guidance. We know what to do. Tell me. He took the villagers and turned around and left. There is no hesitation in walking. Silence returned to the temple. Taoist Kumu opened his eyes. Look in the direction they're going. A glimmer flashed in the muddy eyes. Complex light. He stretched out his dry hand, gently stroking. In my arms, a man who has long been unable to see his original appearance, mumbling to himself. Daughter and father can only do this step. Your hatred, your hatred. Let them pay in blood tonight. And all this, LV Shan, who was eavesdropping under the back window of the Earth Temple. It sounds so good. His heart instantly fell into an ice cave. A cold air rushed straight to the sky from the solace of the feet. He finally understood. What immortal priest? What providence? It all started 15 years ago. It's a complete deception. A vicious conspiracy against his daughter. Lu Shan ran home like he was sealed. He knocked on the door. Pull up the ripples. There was unprecedented horror and determination in his eyes. Jumpsuit fast. Run away, don't ask why. If you don't run, it will be too late. Lian Yi's mother also responded. Crying, I dug out a small cloth bag from the bottom of the box. Inside is the only dry food in the house. And a few copper coins, stuffed into the jumpsuit. Kids, run south. Keep running and don't look back. Never go back to Lujiakan. Lian looked at the flustered and sad faces of his parents. Tears welled up in an instant. Parents. What's going on? I'm not going to die. Our family died together. Confused, Lucian Chicken slapped himself in the face. You go. It doesn't matter if your parents are dead. You have to live. You listen to Dad. That Taoist Deadwood is not a good person. He wants to hurt you. It's all his conspiracy. He didn't have time to say. Only the words you overhear. Tell Lian Yi at the fastest speed. I was struck by lightning. The whole person is confused. Daoji Deadwood, the benefactor who gave him 15 years of stability. It turned out to be an enemy who wanted his life. Go quickly, take the path from the back mountain. They will soon follow. Lucian pushes out the door with Li Jiang ripples. Parents. The jumpsuit cried and turned around 3 times. He saw his honest manner. The father who has never blushed with anyone in his life. I'm holding a firewood knife and guarding the door at the moment. Like an angry door god. And his frail mother. I also picked up a rolling pin and stood behind my father. The thin body is straight. They want to buy time for him with their lives. Even one heart is like a knife. He knows he can't look back. Looking back is to live up to the will of my parents to die. He wiped away his tears. Use all your strength. Turned around and ran towards the back mountain. The Feng whistled in his ear. In the village behind, the roar of the villagers has been heard. And the screams of my parents. Lian Yi dare not listen. I dare not think about it. He had only one thought. If you live, you must live to avenge your parents. I don't know how long I ran. The torches and curses chasing behind. It's getting closer. Just then, the originally clear night sky suddenly became overcast. A bolt of lightning pierced the sky. Then there was a loud bang. Bean-sized raindrops pour down. It's raining. It's really raining. But this late rain. For Ripple, it is a life-threatening emergency. Heavy rain blurred the line of sight. It also makes the mountain road muddy. The chasing villagers saw heavy rain. I thought it was a river god. Even more crazy. Determined that the ripples were sacrifices. Won't let him go. Don't let him get away. Grab him, he's right in front. Ripple slipped under his feet. fell hard to the ground. He struggled to get up, but there was a sharp pain in the ankle. It was sprained. Despair enveloped him in an instant. The light of the torch is getting closer and closer. He could even see the village chief's ferocious face clearly. Is today really the day I die? Parents and daughters are unfilial. I can't avenge you. Lian Yi closed his eyes, waiting for death to come. Just then, he felt cold where he fell. He opened his eyes subconsciously, head down, by the light of distant torches and lightning in the sky. He sees himself beside him, a small puddle due to heavy rain. The water surface is falling because of raindrops, circles of ripples. But the rain started to let up. The ripples gradually subside. A clear, still water appear in front of him. The water reflects the dark clouds in the sky and his own face. This is 18 years. His first time at night. See your own clear reflection. Father's warning. The Taoist priest's housewife exploded in his mind in an instant. Never let him see anything at night. The reflection in the water. A jumpsuit with a heart. He stared fixedly at the reflection in the water. I want to see what secrets are hidden in there. In the beginning, it was really his own pale reflection. Muddy face. But gradually, the face started to blur and distort. The water surface seems to have become one side, mirror to another world. He in the water, the cinnabar mole between the eyebrows, began to emit a demon red light. His eyes were no longer filled with horror and despair, but a kind of ripple. Never seen the majesty and indifference of rebellious beings. Immediately following the background of the reflection in the water, no more muddy mountain roads and dark clouds. It became one boundless sea of blood-colored flowers. Flowers bloom without leaves, no flowers in the wild. Huanquan Biluo, Manjusha. And at the end of the sea of flowers, a majestic black palace rose from the ground. What was that? The jumpsuit shouted. He saw himself slowly standing up in the water. A sackcloth on his body. In the reflection, turned into a complicated and gorgeous black robe. Ancient totems embroidered with gold thread on the robe. With his movements radiant. The villagers who are chasing at this moment are already close at hand. The village chief raised the hoe in his hand high. It's about to be smashed on the head of the jumpsuit. But at this moment, the one on the chest of the jumpsuit, the mahogany soul card that has long lost its luster. Suddenly there was a crisp click. A crack. A golden light almost invisible to the naked eye, rising from the rippling eyebrows, straight into the sky. At the same time, in the Senluo Hall, under Jiuyu, son of heaven Yama, who is in charge of the reincarnation of thousands of souls, sitting on the temple. Delighted by the ministry of life and death, suddenly, the judge in his hand trembled violently. The whole thick life and death department, it bloomed with golden light without warning. The entire vagina I photographed is unknown. Bullhead and horse noodles on both sides, black and white impermanence and so on. They fell to their knees in shock. At a loss. Your Majesty. The judge in charge of the Ministry of Life and Death. With a trembling voice, he pointed to the glowing cloth. I saw that night on the list of life and death. A name is being enriched by a ball. The indissolvable purple and gold key is wrapped. Blinding light. Barely able to look directly. That name is Lu Lianyi. Son of Heaven put down the judge's pen. Stand up slowly. On his majestic face that has remained unchanged for thousands of years, for the first time, a trace of mixed refugee emotions emerged. Seems to be emotional. It seems helpless. He looked at the sky-soaring purple and gold key, as if through the endless void. I saw everything that was happening on Earth. It took a long time to let out a long sigh. After all, I still can't hide it. He turned around, looking at His Highness trembling heavy Yin God. The voice was low and majestic. It resounded throughout Semper Point. And wait to know. Why are some people afraid of being born in July since ancient times? All because the door of hell opens this July. The origins of reincarnations are unusual. Not great good, great evil. Or have a big grudge. Ordinary life pavilion. I can't suppress this evil spirit of alternating yin and yang at all. The person born in July in this world. Extraordinary background. There are no more than 3. The gaze of the Son of Heaven. Fall back to the glowing book of life and death. There was an unprecedented sense of seriousness in his eyes. And this Lu Lianyi, he doesn't belong to the first 2 categories. He's the 3rd type that has been rare in 10,000 years. This first kind of son of hell is towering and guarding. The voice echoed with ancient heaviness. The first type of person is the reborn. Born in July, mostly for the lonely souls who came to the hospital. Solve the knot for righteousness, or to get back Beto's life, or to recover the undefeated injustice for the loved ones, with resentment like a fetus, put on a mortal body. There are many such people with strong temperaments. Eyes often contain unhired fire. Life is full of ups and downs. If it cannot be resolved properly, will turn resentment into disaster, misfortune for one life. The second type is the reincarnation of evil spirits. Born in July, evil in the body, or attached to the evil essence of the external way, or for the great evil of the past. When such people come, often highly destructive, or become a disturbing god, or unwittingly spread disaster. Breeding such, if you can't tell the difference as soon as possible, often affects the countryside. Therefore, the folk, especially Peking opera, heavy yin difference when yin complexion slightly flat. Whisper. Yama Tianzi slowly raised his hand to signal the tendon demon. Eyes turned to the glowing ministry of life and death, as if to record the fate on the page. Bit by bit into the chest. The third is the most scholarly, also the most accessible. His voice fell even lower, like from an ancient crane. Dig up a foraging section that shouldn't be known. And the third is called the compound receiver. Such souls are not born solely for themselves, but to undertake the heavy responsibility of the avenue of heaven and earth, or to repay Sushi's debt to sentient beings, or not completed in the sky. The vow of the underworld has already been signed. Born in July, because the door of hell is open, yin key access. The boundaries between the world and the Ming government are weak. Therefore, such souls are more likely to be attracted. The failed ambition has been fulfilled. Yanbio Tianzi slowly took it back and realized it. There is a light in my eyes that is not visible to the world. his voice echoing back and forth between the stone walls of Senbo Hall. Lu Lianyi is the third type. The heavy shade difference exclaimed again. Even some officials can't hold back. Ask your majesty. He is the willing mature. Why were you born? But bad luck. If it's destiny, why hide the bullying in the world? Son of Heaven was silent for a moment. Fingertips on the book of life and death kiss mother, as if touching a long-ago text. Destiny does not equal stability. Most people with great wishes are accompanied by two things. He who leaves can do great things to redeem his suffering. The Father's burden is often beyond the mundane. Must be honed at the cost of pain. Cardiac dusting can become the key of heaven and earth, if anyone is cornered in the mortal world. If his heart still resents and hates, if there is suffering and compassion, then it can be turned around. Inside Somber Hall, the light slowly fades. Son of Heaven sat back in the dragon chair, calm as bronze. Even the wisp of consciousness chosen by destiny. His birthday is destroyed by a glance in the water. Taoist Tiger Mother. Take Nan Chun as selfish desire. He has a conspiracy with some force behind him. But before that, someone once created an enchantment for the joint medical. Pledge of influence. If he can preserve his sincerity before the age of 18. Do not give in to hatred. Then you can start a game that changes the world. Flying with the door of the FNL order. If you give in, it will be a curse. Shankuyan. Yama Tianzi's tone was heavy. It's like a hammer hitting everyone's heart. Bull and horse noodles are interesting with black and white impermanent noodles. As if the order of good and evil in this world. It suddenly became incomprehensible in his mouth. At the same time, the rain in the mountains is getting louder. Classical thunder like morning. Lu Lianyi struggled in the mud. His face was covered with tears and mud. But in his chest, the crack of the cracked mahogany plaque. A golden light like a flame. Up between his eyebrows into the sky. The light was not purely protective. It also means calling. Summoner, covenants and memories buried in the depths of 3 worlds. Struggling to get up. There's still a touch of peaking opera in the eyes. But then, a calm that came from nowhere enveloped the whole body. He doesn't understand the words of the King of Hell, but that golden light, it was like opening a window inside him. Let him see many unspeakable fragments. A long river. The riverside crowd weeps. A white-haired monk writes his vows by candlelight. Another woman. In the middle of the night, I broke my appointment with the bloody mother hell. The oath, the prayer. The tears are like fine sand. Fingers slipping. Ultimately called the seeds of his life. He remembered the face of his father's peaking opera. Remembering the coldness of Taoist Deadwood's words. Immortal. But in his heart, there are others even older. Something warmer is stirring. An inexplicable responsibility. A monument who breathes in his chest. He looked up into the distance. The mountains are looming in the rain. Like a path to the unknown. In the villager's iron rope, the moment when he is about to take on his vision, Lianyi suddenly felt a pain somewhere in his body. Pain doesn't come from trauma. It's like a repressed memory. Being yanked out. He saw, walking in another world. There is no moon and no stars, only the gray lotus flowers, and the dim light of the distant palace. He heard someone say to him, "You are the volunteer for that cup. If you like, take me to pay the outstanding debt if you don't want to. Heaven and earth have their own order. The sound of cleaning up is not high, but penetrate everything." Just at this moment, a strange figure broke through the rain. That person is not from the village. Robes stop, but the eyes are clear. I saw a jumpsuit surrounded. He was not involved in the siege. You walk in. Reach out and lift the jumpsuit up. The man calls himself a traveler. Calm tone, but with an unquestionable tranquility. The girl was born here. Why don't you follow me? The traveler looked at the ripples, broken mahogany plaque on the chest, softly said that although this thing can be protected, but breakable, you need to talk to those who have made a covenant with you. Find the lost air kiss. If the discarded text is not found, it is difficult to identify a root cause. Ripple hasn't asked much yet. Conflict in the village. In the shadow of the knife, the village chief caught his parents who were far away. The cries of killing in the village echoed endlessly. Passenger holding the hand of Ripple. Firm action. Take him through the rain curtain. Walk quickly along the mountain road. He has an indescribable artifact. Hang around your waist. Strange symbols are engraved on the steam wall, runes looming in the rain, like a scripture waiting to be awakened. They went all the way south. Make an appointment to cross the broken bridge. Through the sleeping ancient road. Deeper. Raincoats are sparse. Tourists stop at the ruins of an ancient temple, where the model Buddha remains, and a mouthful of bronze bells half buried in the soil. Tourists for life. The voice is deep and long, as if in exchange for ancient echoes. In a row of bells, it was as if I heard a call from the other side. There are grievances. There are also expectations. Who are you? Name is useless, the traveler said lightly. But I can tell you one of three things. You are not alone. Your heart holds the key to your destiny. Third, I met someone who died with you 10 years ago. He was destroyed by hatred, eventually become a ghost. You just have to remember, anger will consume you. Compassion can be achieved. Choose one and choose your ending. The words of the traveler do not comfort the ripples. Instead, it is like a cold water topping. But one thing he slowly realized: to escape from this established destiny, only by exploring oneself. So he decided to go with the passenger, to find traces of the dusty hell. Ask the heaven and earth who signed a contract with him. This trip is not a simple escape. It's a journey towards the truth. The two visited the old nun one after another, the reclusive Taoist and the old man in charge of the prefecture level. Everyone seems to understand the concept of being born in July, both familiar and fearful. And there were always two things in the stories they were talking about. One is the contract between the old world and the underworld. Once held by a few eminent monks, the emperor and the human clan established a private relationship to preserve the peace of one party or to compensate for a period of cause and effect. The second is that these contracts were formed at the outset, often mixed with the self-interest of the human heart, with the wrong driver. Reclusive Taoist, only give a clue to the road to forget the river. There is an old man who can shuttle between yin and yang, if someone can see him. There is a chance to implant the middle shade, to explore this sealed oath. Although Ripple is afraid, but there is more determination in his eyes. He wonders if the oath is relevant to him. He's going to uncover him with his own hands, no matter the cost. And along the way, he began to notice changes in himself. The prosperity he had seen before, just a faint shadow beside the person. And along the way, the shadows began to communicate with him. They are both kings. Also witness. They are no longer screaming for their lives. Instead, tell him dusty stories. Or sea-style laughter. Or a word of Wei Yang when he was dying. Those fragmented life records. Tandem like pearls. Slowly approaching the heart of the truth. On an ancient bridge, Reader appears. He is an old man who has been cut down. There is a clarity in the eyes that does not belong to the world. He looked at the ripples. He looked at the mahogany card with a crack in his chest. Nods slowly. I haven't seen such a reporter in years. Old Du sighed that there were 3 kinds of people in the past. Everything is unique because of July. Since you have come here, it is to see the graphite that has long since moved off the day of poetry. Lao Duji, picking up the clouds to see the sun, tells an ancient legend. Once upon a time, the world is often subject to changes in heaven and earth, or flood or drought. And some officials of the netherworld were also involved. To maintain the balance of the 3 realms, an eminent monk once arrived about several human modifications. Under the moon, the constant force turns fruit contract. It states that if there is a grudge at a certain time, it will be the public. Can be reincarnated at the time of the handover of yin and yang from the suffering of the world. The method of the underworld breaks the heart and completes the transformation. If successful, then the Lizhe who would have been spread can be. Turn to the power of redemption. Envy boundless bitterness. If it fails, it will enlarge the original branches and leaves. Catastrophe. Some people swear that God's will. He took it for his own use in private. And those who are beneficial to him will pay the debt for him, or pass on its scourge. Old Du's tone became heavy. Taoist Kumu is such a person. He thought he could manipulate the contract. It was Lian Yi who became his tool. And the forces behind Taoist withered wood. It's been for years. Selling alternative lives. But heaven and earth have eyes, the other end of the contract, and the power that made the oath in the first place. They didn't expect. Ripple's body is not just mortal blood. There is also an ancient etymology flowing. It was someone who once swore an oath of great compassion. The resentment of a bodhisattva or monk who supports all living beings turned into a soul, waiting for when the carcass will germinate. Even more confused. But there is an unprecedented sense of responsibility. He is no longer just running for his own protection. It's about realizing that possibilities carried by oneself. Far more than. Some rumors in the village suggest that the monsters are complex. He's a node. A clue that can connect and transform the scattered night. Old Duji showed him a way. Go see the one who swore. Descendants of the white-haired old monk. Or a silkworm cocoon that can find the temperature in its hands. The white-haired monk lived in seclusion in the mountains to avoid chaos. His manuscript, perhaps hidden in a forgotten cave. Lian Yi bid farewell to the travelers. He embarked on a journey to search for the ruins of the orphan monk. The fog in the mountains is like sandpine, Tao like Sanskrit. They passed the abandoned dojo, through dry wells and remnants. Finally, in a hidden cave, they found a broken scripture. When it is written on the roll hand for all living beings, I am willing to exchange my body for the peace of the world. Occupational disability, but exudes the shimmer of the ancient Buddha. The jumpsuit slowly opened. Then a familiar warmth entered my heart. The lingering warmth of my mother's palm. The scripture records the terms of the year, the earth, and the moon. Also remember a name elder. It says in the scriptures, if a soul is willing to pay for the woes of others, you must remain female during your lifetime. 3 lines do not complain. Do nothing. If you can do it 3 times, on the day of the 18th year, the contract will be tied up and you can get free and down. Will enlarge the leaves, turn into the source of human disaster. Admiralty still remembers a way to relieve Ki. It must be on the 15th of July. Summon the heart with clear water. Handheld lotus lamp, Song Nyan return light reflection. Ju the self-canceling spell. Only then can the vows be resolved. A ripple in my heart. He remembered the reflection in the water that night. The sea of blood-colored flowers you see, with the black palace. It turns out that the people of Shangyu village on Deadwood Road, I want to sacrifice his blood to the river god. I just want to borrow a broken device to replace the gas. Molting. Control the power of heaven and earth with selfishness. Priest Kumu does not know the way to relieve Ki. It only knows how to use the fear of the human heart for profit. Now the truth emerges. He knew that if he wanted to rewrite the letter of death, we must act according to the ancient law. And the ancient law, to look at himself in the face of the water he fears. Red rainy night, broken mahogany, and the purple gold light on the ministry of life and death. It's like pushing ripples into a heavy, bright path. He knows he can't run away anymore. To preserve parental unity, Redeemer in the village, or for the souls of those who have been forgotten by poets, open a way out. He had to face the force of the water. There are many people hidden there who have never been in their hearts, not shadow. It was impossible to return to the village. The tribe has been filled with hatred. Ripples and travelers sponsor daytime chanting in the mountains. Shame at night. Tourists are often by his side to guide him how to stabilize his mind. Not for hate trivia. Gradually the ripples found. I can understand the words of those wandering ghosts. They continued to mourn the house, but mostly because of being misunderstood, persecuted, and unable to rest in peace. Ripple's heart softens. Mercy is like a hot spring in my chest. He began to chant. Soothe those lingering spirits. Let them be happy without suffering. These spirits also gave him some of their past. Become part of the repair support. Time goes by slowly. In the blink of an eye, it's July. The fears of the past are surging back like a tide. But the ripples of this matter are no longer the wronged girl of the past. He found lamps and old scriptures in the mountains. Get water ready. By where the scriptures are. Prepare for a night trip in the Central Plains. Backlight. Traveler and Lao Du. It is the book of virtuous people. Although there are scriptures, but I also trust the stability in his chest. The night of the Central Plains is dark, and the wind is high. Came to that place in a row, in the valley where he fled. Puddle. The water is still. There was a tremor in his chest. It hurts like a knife. He didn't close his eyes, but to empty the heart. Let everything in the past fall into the sea of my heart. He raised the lotus lantern. Recite the ancient spell to return to the light. Ju the self-elimination. May my heart be filled with kindness. Past grudges. This morning is over. May this light shine upon all living beings. Night nirvana. The soul returns to safety. The sound is like a dragonfly, but gradually surging. The water surface ripples in the light of the lotus lamp. Ripples beat like music notes. Ripples face the reflection in the water. That reflection no longer mutates. It's like an ancient Buddha. Gentle and profound. The fantasy of the sea of blood-colored flowers gradually fades, replaced by a transcendent tranquility. Ripple's heart trembled. A long-released awakening. He is no longer a tool to be used. He is a volunteer for all living beings. This is the moment of engineering. Deadwood Road is longer than a pole. The hairy person perceives the meaning of rape and breaks this method. The village chief brought people. There is still fanaticism in the eyes, but when they see the ripples, when the light gradually spreads by my side, the frenzy is replaced by an unknown layer of fear. Extracting mahogany blessing from the palm of the bitter mother and suppressing it according to law. But I saw that the blessing was destroyed in my hands, although very careful. Suddenly there was a dike crane in the courtyard, as if from Huanquan. The crane is angry, but more circular. Do not use blood to determine the universe. Good and evil have their own Tianheng village. Long knelt down and begged Ripple to solve the disaster for the village. Taoist Withered Wood looked at Ripple tremblingly. There was a long-lost gray in his eyes. He casually admitted what had happened. He is young and ignorant. It is expected to manipulate the contract for profit. That contract is nothing special. It involves more innocent lives. Just listen. There is both anger and pity in my heart. He knew that if he used blood to destroy the enemy, is to repeat the same mistakes, if it is resolved with compassion, might be able to wash away a liquid. He put down the lotus lamp, stepped forward, hands washed with muddy water. Caress the heads of village chief and Taoist Withered Wood. Read the key relieving sutra from your mouth. Guanghua enveloped everyone in the museum class. Tears welled up in their eyes. Flying single for regret. I thought it was a feeling of being forgiven again. The jumpsuit took out the broken scriptures from the inner volume, reached the deepest part of the spell. And see that floor. The purple gold aura that shines on the ministry of life and death slowly falling back to the world. Integrate into everyone, the hearts of those who have been haunted by night. Sudden change and drought in the village. The sky finally gathers clouds. The rain falls gently. No longer the breath of a beast as before. And brushed the thirsty soil against the palm of my mother's hand. The fields are moisturized. The crowd sobbed. They knelt before the ripples and confessed their mistakes. Pray for forgiveness. That moment is about people's fear of redemption born in July. Like sediment initialized by rain. Reveal new meaning. It wasn't meant to end. It's a contract that can be rewritten. Inside Yanbo Hall, Yanbo Tianzi read the ministry of life and death again. An imperceptible smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He looked into the fading light. rather than calm. Jumpsuit to change careers. Extraordinary gift. It is said that he was born in July after that. Hawk is no longer just a theft. It's about reminding people. At the intersection of yin and yang, they often have the potential to change the world. Both disaster and opportunity. Year-month circulation. The ripples did not stay in the village for a long time. He knew he still had unfinished business. He travels all over the place. Discussion statement. Teaching by example. He lives in July. Teach back to the hometown to hurt the children of strangers with fear. Do not disturb the key of heaven and earth with selfish desires. He became a flowing beacon. I think pain is my ear. Those who turn suffering into wisdom. Taoist Master Kidwood was sentenced to reflect on his duties. He was in the mountains and the answer never existed. Chinese pray for atonement. The village chief leads the villagers to rebuild the village rules. Historical site. Remember this, future generations. And that layer of children called ghosts, Lu Lianyi. Ultimately with his mercy. His choice. People are afraid of being born in July. Transform into a new legend. People are born in July, maybe with an extraordinary marriage. But this marriage can both destroy and save. It's all about the human heart. If you take compassion as your downfall, between yin and yang, draw a path to the light. Many years later, the mothers of Qinghe County on a summer night. No longer just below warning children. Avoid flooding at the well. And would talk about a girl by the campfire. How to reflect in the water in the Central Plains. How to be alone. Resolve the contract that affected all living beings. And the children's eyes sparkled. No longer afraid of contracts, it's learning to ask the question before the fear. Who can I light a light for? Yama Tianzi and his ministry of life and death. Senbo Hall is once again at the bottleneck. He knew that the order of the three realms was not achieved in a day. Every turn, every oath, all for a reason. There are indeed a few people like Lian Yi. If you can suffer, transform into a mercy to all living beings. We can build new bridges in the sea of suffering. The curve connecting birth and death turns cause and effect. Legend. Often only talk about its woes. Blessing. Hades whispers in the temple. Anyone who wants to understand July. You should understand that there are rules in heaven and earth. People have laws. If you can use mindfulness to reveal the truth, no matter how dark the night is, you can see the glimmer of light. After the rainy season in Qinghengti, there are a few more manjusha flowers in the village. Some say it's the ripples depicted in the emblem. Others say it's just a coincidence of the right time and the right place. But whenever the wind blows, petal tremor, there seems to be a silent song singing. Last night can be understood. Being confronted can also be transformed. Those forgotten names will not be lost forever. As long as someone is willing to touch with their heart, to bring the sleeper back to his place. The story of ripples goes away with the wind. Incoming neighborhood, load town. Finally teleported by everyone. People are talking about people who are afraid of being born in July. Start adding a new light to the tone. More than just fear, we should be more vigilant than shy away. More like a guardian. Because in that paper-thin day and night, they often contain the seeds to change the world. And man is the one who can destroy. It can also protect people who eat seeds. As for Lu Lianyi himself, his footsteps never stop. He traveled through many villages, many desolate, many riverbanks, everywhere. Light a lamp. Read back the light shower. Quiet lights, like a long aftertaste, gradually merge into rivers, moisturize every dry land. He knew what he could achieve. But it's these little lights. Make the case of adultery no longer isolated. The river of time continues to flow. The life and death department of Yambo Hall is still rewriting new names. The strip wrapped in purple gold gradually faded away. But it stays warm. The world may still whisper, still be afraid, but also at some point, remembering the woman who faced the water in the rainy night. Remember how he showed kindness, found a home for thousands of unfinished names. This is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a cycle.